The Krytac Trident Mark II series of rifles is very interesting to think about. See, Krytac didn't do a whole lot to the gun, and so it feels like they're just re-releasing their line of guns or doing a limited edition model. Now, re-releasing an entire line of guns with only minor changes is a really odd thing to do, and not really something I think I've seen done before. And so, is re-releasing a whole line of guns really worth it, especially in this case? I guess we'll find out. So let's talk about the new Mark II CRB and SPR. Starting with the CRB, we have the same 6-position stock as usual. The pistol grip is completely new, however, and incredibly comfortable and ergonomic. It's actually the same one they used on the LVOAC earlier, I believe this year. The trigger is straight as opposed to the usual curved trigger, and it actually feels fantastic. When you first look at it, it looks just odd. It looks like they're just doing it to be different, but it really does feel good to shoot with. The body also has been changed and gives a very clean and different look. It almost models the SR series from G&G, but it's kind of their own spin on it, so it's still lightweight while being a metal. The rail has not been changed, but that's a very good thing. See, Krytac's Keymod rail has always been fantastic. I think that even in my original review I did praise them for at least the rail. Many people will frequently use this rail on their non-Krytacs, and I frequently get asked if they can use that rail on non-Krytacs. The SPR is just about the same, so we're only going to take a very quick look so that you can see how the tan version looks. Now, both the CRB and the SPR come in black and tan, and I'm sure that later this year we can expect foliage green. The SPR does have a 14.5-inch barrel with a 13-inch rail, while the CRB sits at a 10.5-inch barrel with a 10-inch rail. So it really comes down to personal preference as far as whether you're looking more for a DMR or more of a CQB gun. The SPR did chrono at about 420 FPS with 0.2 gram BBs, with the CRB shooting around 390 to 400 with the same BBs. Both of them shoot great, even a little better than the Mark Is, but there's not actually any difference internally, at least that we can find at this point. Now, maybe the straight trigger is what's doing it. Maybe the straight trigger adds trigger response, just like when you put racing stripes on, let's say, a Mustang. It'll make you go a lot faster. Now, to be honest, I was never a huge fan of the original Trident series. I felt they were generic and only mildly better than KWA's lineup at the time, and therefore didn't jump on the Krytac bandwagon. And of course, all these other companies started coming out with their Krytac killers, and if you look back when we first made our Krytac video, almost every video right after that is a different version of what Krytac came out with, but I was never really that impressed as much as other manufacturers seem to be. But with the Mark IIs, Krytac demonstrated that they know what to and what not to change when releasing a gun. Keeping the rails and not messing with the internals was a fantastic plan, and the changes that they did make made the gun much better even if it was small. I think that what it comes down to is Krytac understands that subtle, necessary changes need to be made, even if it means relaunching a line of guns with minor changes. What we see a lot is these guns from 4 or 5 years ago that kind of sit around and have the exact same thing going on forever because the company released that gun and they said, that's that gun, that's as good as it's gonna get. And what Krytac did is they said that we don't need to wait for technological advances just so that we can make another line of guns. We want to make the best gun possible now. So they worked on their ergonomics, they worked on their aesthetics, and they took all of that and put it into a new line of guns and relaunched that, saying, we want to give the people buying our guns the best gun possible now, rather than waiting for a few years for something big to come out so that we can put a gimmick on it and then also all of this stuff that might be outdated by that time. So, good job, Krytac. I do respect that. I like seeing manufacturers do things like this that is very obviously trying to help out the consumer, the people who buy their guns, the Krytac fans, who might not necessarily demand a new gun, but might as well be given the best gun that Krytac possibly can do, even if it only means very subtle changes. Now, the Mark II CRB can be had for $344.95, while the Mark II SPR is $354.95. Now, if you like what I've been saying about Krytac, even though I wasn't a huge fan up until this point, you can still get into it a bit cheaper as we still have some of the Mark Is. We've got the PDW for $269.95, the CRB for $299.95, and the SPR for $324.95. There's also the Alpha, which you can find an overview of here, and that one is only $274.95. It's sort of their more affordable model of gun, but still a great gun. Now, Krytac has finally earned my full seal of approval, and I recommend coming into our walk-in store or going online to VIPAirsoftarmory.com to check it out. And maybe even find Krytac or Chris Arms on social media, send them some love, and let them know that we really appreciate it. Let them know that Nate from VIP Airsoft sent you, and it'll be fantastic. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.
don't suppose you're here to fix the lights.
We want our Pokemon back, Giovanni.
But they're not your Pokemon. I caught them.